The worst time to trust a narcissist is when they're falling apart, when they're crying, when they say, "I've never said this to anyone before." But they're not showing vulnerability, they're hooking you with their claws softly. Because covert narcissists are masters of disguise. They don't just wear one mask, they switch roles constantly. And each one is designed to make you question yourself just a little more until you're emotionally worn down. If any of these feel familiar, it's not a coincidence and you're not the only person who has seen these. The stoic sufferer. This one never complains out loud. They just sigh, stare off, pull away, and when you ask what's wrong, they say nothing. They punish you without saying a word and somehow make you feel guilty for not being a mind reader. But the message is clear. You should already know. Their silence trains you. It tells you, prove your care, try harder, earn my love. The sarcastic controller. This one doesn't yell. They joke about your habits, your body, your dreams, and if you react, relax, cool your jets. It was just a joke. This mask lets them criticize you in public, humiliate you in private, and always blame you for being too sensitive. The helpless victim. This one is always in a crisis, always overwhelmed, always falling apart. You help, you give, you overextend, but it's just never enough. And when you finally say no, you are the villain. After everything I've been through, wow, I didn't think you of all people would abandon me. They don't want help, they want control. And they use your kindness as the leash. The next one is the silent punisher. They vanish. Emotionally, physically, they freeze you out, withdraw affection, act like a ghost in your own home. You beg for reconnection, you apologize, you shrink, and just when you stop trying, they come back as if nothing happened. Silence becomes their favorite weapon, and it leaves you begging just to feel seen again. You want to keep watching because in a few minutes I'll break down the twisted psychological tricks they use to make you feel like the abuser. The final persona is what I like to call the vanishing manipulator. They disappear when you need them the most. During your grief, your illness, your anxiety, then they reappear, saying you were too much, too needy, too dramatic. Over time, you learn. If you want to keep them, you have to suppress your needs. Each mask has one goal: keep you emotionally off balance. If you saw yourself in any of these, it wasn't just bad luck. It was a system, a pattern, and it was never your fault. You've seen the mask. Now let's look at the weapon. Because the greatest manipulation isn't what they hide, it's what they give you. Narcissists are masters of what psychologists call emotional equivalence, the illusion that expressing strong emotion equals emotional depth or honesty. But pain doesn't always mean innocence, and tears don't always mean truth. A narcissist will cry, rage, or collapse into shame, not to reflect, but to redirect, to make you focus on their performance and not their pattern. It tricks even therapists because we are taught to empathize with emotion, not question what it's protecting. It's not the tears or the rage that do the most damage, it's what comes after, the slow, calculated use of intimacy itself. And here's how it works. They love bomb with compliments, but it's not admiration, it's bait. The moment you trust it, they pull it away. Now you're chasing their praise, doing more, giving more, losing yourself. Gift giving with strings. They buy you something small, then act like they moved mountains. Later, when they want something, they remind you of everything they've done. Selective praise and reward. They starve you of affection, then give you a crumb. It feels like relief. It trains your nervous system to crave their approval, to perform for their love. Helpful advice that hurts. They frame criticism as help. You're so smart. If only you tried harder. You look great today. You should always dress like that. You start questioning everything and they stay in control. But what about the times that they actually seemed loving? What about the good memories? This is where another powerful illusion creeps in, the consistency trap. Narcissists don't act the same way all the time, and that's the whole point. They give you just enough kindness to create confusion. That unpredictability, it's by design. Your brain tries to make it make sense, so you string together those rare good moments and tell yourself that's who they really are. But it's not. The inconsistency is the personality. The pattern is the truth. In about 2 minutes, I'll show you exactly how to escape this cycle and start reclaiming your clarity, your peace, and your power. But first, you need to see the final twist. The one that keeps even smart, well-rounded people trapped. Not because they miss the pain, but because they mistake performance for progress. Because narcissists don't just fake emotions, they fake alignment. And that illusion is deadly. Making you the hero. They tell you that you're the only one who understands me. No one's ever loved me the way you do. It sounds romantic, but it's a trap again. Now you're the rescuer. And every time you think about leaving, you remember the broken person who needs you. It's psychological captivity. They say they want the same things. They mirror your values, your pain, your dreams. But watch this closely. This is what we call false mutuality, a subtle form of psychological con artistry. They mimic your worldview, claim to share your goals, trauma, and values, not to connect, but to collect information. It's espionage. They gather your secrets, hopes, and vulnerabilities and store them as leverage. Later, they'll weaponize that bond, gaslight you with your own words, mock what you once confided, or say, I only became this way because of you. You think that's shared reality? No, that's psychological theft. And here's why this trick works even on professionals, because narcissists learn to mimic healing. They use therapy language. Therapists who aren't trauma-informed may miss this. They see vulnerability. They don't see the performance. Meanwhile, you're in the room with the real damage. You see the pattern, the withdrawal, the gaslighting, but you start doubting yourself because even the therapist doesn't catch it. That's the power of the trick. And here's another one therapists and partners fall for all the time. It's called moral positioning, where the narcissist claims moral high ground to avoid accountability. They'll say, I'm just trying to be a better man, or I'm the only one who actually cares about the kids. They create a false binary. Either you support them or you're immoral. It doesn't matter what you do, they weaponize what they say and how others see them. And if you challenge them, suddenly you're the abuser, the toxic one, or mentally unstable. It's a guilt grenade. Remember earlier when I said they use logic as a weapon? This is where it happens. The narcissist doesn't just trap you in a relationship. They trap you in the logic of investment. You've spent months, maybe years, you've given your heart, your forgiveness, your effort. And part of you believes, if I leave now, it was all for nothing. That's called the sunken cost bias. And narcissists rely on it. They want you so emotionally invested, walking away feels like losing a piece of your soul. By the way, this is the same kind of fallacies that gamblers get trapped in. They throw good money after bad, hoping they can get all their money back. But it's never going to happen. So how do you escape? Watch the patterns, not apologies. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they repeat. Name the mask. The moment you recognize, oh, this is the stoic sufferer, you break the trance. Stop explaining yourself. If someone constantly misunderstands you, they might want to. Don't confuse intensity with intimacy. If you feel a rush of connection, check your nervous system. Sometimes that spark is just trauma trying to recreate itself. Get outside validation. Talk to someone who understands narcissistic abuse, not someone who will say, oh, but they seem so nice. Because you will hear this. I've heard this. I'm sure you've probably heard this. You will hear people say this because they're not living with that person. They don't see them behind closed doors. Rebuild your inner voice. You don't just leave the narcissist, you leave the version of yourself that needed their approval. That takes time, but it's possible. And know this, you don't owe anyone your energy, your healing, or your empathy, especially when they weaponize it. If this video helped you feel seen, like it, share it, and subscribe for more. And in the comments, tell me, what mask have you seen a narcissist wear? How did you finally see through it?